Hello children, today in this chapter, crop production and management, we're going to learn about crops. So we know that our food requirements are fulfilled by crops, that is by a process called agriculture. Various crops are grown. We need so many things for our food requirements every day. We need fruits, vegetables, cereals, pulses, oils. So just you open your lunch box or snacks box and see what are the different items prepared for you by your mother. You may be having idli or puri or chapati, that is roti, in your snacks box or tiffin box. You may be having rice, biryani, fried rice. These kind of items are made out of cereals, and you may be given certain fruit salad or vegetable salad. So see that to prepare our food, either breakfast or lunch or dinner or whatsoever, we need certain things like these: fruits, vegetables, cereals, pulses and oils. All these things we get from crops. So crops are very important. They are very important to supply the food to the nation. So without food, we cannot get any energy to carry out our activities. It is a very basic and primary need. So the supply is food done by the crops. Earlier, long ago, 10,000 BC, 10,000 BC, then the people were nomadic. Nomadic in the sense, moving from one place to another place in groups. People, they were not used to be settled at one place. There were no towns and cities or villages. People moving in groups. They used to gather, collect fruits, vegetables, nuts, whichever available in the nature, that is in the forest. So they have only collection. But sometimes when they were not able to collect it, they have to starve. In some seasons, in such extreme conditions, they were not able to collect the food. Later, they started settling down at one particular place. They started cultivating the land, then started the process called as agriculture. So now let us see what is a crop. Crop means growing a same kind of plant in a particular plot, particular area is called as a crop. We have selected some area, 1 acre of land. So in that 1 acre of land, we are growing only paddy. You call it as a paddy crop. You are growing only wheat. You call it as a wheat crop. You are growing only maize. You call it as a maize crop or sugar cane. So if you are growing only one particular plant in a plot of area, you call it as a crop. So the growing of crop, the type of plant, it grows at a particular season, because the growth of plants is dependent on different factors like rainfall, temperature. Certain plants, they grow at specific temperature. At low temperatures, they cannot grow. Rainfall, humidity. So these are the various factors. Irrigation, availability of water. Sometimes, if water is available, the crop can be grown at any of the season. Because if the water is available, some places, if they are dependent on only rainfall, they can grow crops only when there is rain. Otherwise, they cannot grow a crop. So the crops, the plants, they grow on basing certain factors, especially the temperature, humidity and rainfall. So according to that, there are two major crop patterns. Despite of this diversity, there are so many various factors controlling. There are two major cropping patterns observed in our country. They are Kharif crops and Rabi crops. The Kharif crops are the rainy season crops. It will be from the month of June to September. Majorly here paddy, maize, soya, groundnut, cotton are grown during this season, Kharif season. Whereas the Rabi season, these are the winter season crops, October to March. Here, wheat, gram, mustard, pea, linseed, these are grown. However, nowadays, the pulses and vegetables are grown throughout the year because they are on high demand. Even paddy is also grown in both the seasons where the water facility is available. So they are growing. So these are the basic two major cropping patterns, Kharif crops and Rabi crops. So these two are the two different cropping patterns, and the crops, they are dependent on different factors like rainfall, temperature, humidity and irrigation. So the crops are of different types: fruit crops, vegetables, cereals, pulses, oil, fruit plantations. So these are all comes under the crops. Now we are going to look at what are the basic practices of cropping, that is agriculture. So agriculture is a whole process. It has some stages, some steps. So when you wanted to grow a crop, you need to follow step-by-step procedure very carefully with the available amount of budget, with the available resources, with the available manpower, with the available technology. It is not uniform for everybody. All the farmers do not have the same equipment. All the farmers do not have the same amounts, budget to invest on the crop. So let us see what are the various basic practices and how well they can utilize the resources, and how well with a less investment in a sustainable manner the process of agriculture can be carried out. Now let us see the basic practices of crop production. So what are the various practices involved in crop production, that is in agriculture, that is growing crops. So where do we grow the crops? We grow the crops on the soil. So that is done in the soil. So there should be a suitable soil. The first practice is preparation of soil. So there is soil to grow the crop. The soil, it has to be prepared. Preparation. So what is that preparation? So the soil has to be loosened, the soil has to be moistened, the soil has to be kept ready to plant the seeds, to sow the seeds. That is the preparation of soil. It is the first and most important step in crop production, that is agricultural practice, one of the most important and the first agricultural practice, which will make the soil loose, so by that the plants can breathe well, they can penetrate their roots, there will be more air entering into the soil when the soil is made loose, more moisture is entering, more humidity is entering, more number of microbes are growing which are helpful for the plant, and earthworms and other creatures also will grow when the soil is loosened. So that is the preparation of soil. The second thing is sowing the seeds, planting the seeds with the help of tractors or manual or by different machinery. Sowing of seeds, that is the second important practice. Selecting good seeds and sowing them in a proper way, that is the second one. The third one is adding manure or fertilizers. So once the seeds are sown, they need to be supplied with supplements, nutrients to grow up, because the soil is losing fertility day by day, because the same soil is used for cropping from number of years. From generations to generations we are using the soil for cropping. So the soil is constantly losing the nutrients. So every time when you grow a new crop, you need to add some nutrients artificially, either in the form of organic manure or chemical fertilizer. So either of this must be added to the soil, otherwise the plants cannot grow properly. And the next one is irrigation, the most important, supply of water. Without water you cannot grow the plants. So the crop has to be supplied with proper amount of water, sufficient amount of water. So that is the irrigation. So the water is derived either from irrigation canals or from the bore wells or from the dug wells. So the farmers, they will be having their own ways of bringing the water. That comes under irrigation. So next one is protecting from weeds. So when you provide water, when you provide nutrients, minerals, fertilizers to the soil It becomes a ground for growth of plants. That means crop which we have sown. Along with the crop, some unwanted plants also grows. We call them as weeds, the unwanted plants.